Hello everyone. In today's video, I would like to discuss with you the most commonly used schedules for the Form 1040. Now, there are a number of schedules that are used with the Form 1040, but the ones that I am going to talk about today, in my opinion, and from my experience, are the most commonly used ones. And those forms are, or shall I say, those schedules are the Schedule A, which is itemized deductions, the Schedule B, interest and dividends, Schedule C, profit or loss from business, Schedule D, capital gains and losses, Schedule E, supplemental income and losses, and Schedule F is farmer's income. Now, I want to talk a little bit about each of these forms to give you a brief overview. And as I'm doing that, I may refer to my notes from time to time. I'm good, but I'm not that good. So I may not be able to remember everything that I want to tell you regarding these forms or schedules without taking a look at them. Now, in regards to the Schedule A, itemized deductions, that is the form that you would use, or that's the schedule that you would use when you're breaking your deductions down and categorizing them. Certain information or different types of information is reported on the Schedule A, such as reporting mortgage interest deductions, charitable donations, medical deductions, property tax deductions. There are also other deductions on this form, but those are the ones that come to mind, the major deductions that come to mind that people would use this form for. And again, that is the Schedule A form. Now, the bottom line number from the Schedule A is transferred to line 40 of the Form 1040. So after all the deductions have been tallied and calculated, that bottom line number again transfers to line 40 of the 1040. The next form is the Schedule B, interest and dividend form. This is the form that you would typically report income from interest or dividends that was reported to you on the 1099 OID or the 1099 INT. Now, there are other forms that you can receive as well where you would record the information on the Schedule B. Now, the bottom line number from the Schedule B transfers to lines 8A and 8B for the interest part, and 9A and 9B for the dividend part. So again, Schedule B is for interest and interest dividend that you have earned. The next schedule is Schedule C, profit or loss from business. This is the form that is usually used by independent contractors or sole proprietors. I'm not going to talk much about this form because I do have a video that exclusively talks about the Schedule C. And you can refer to that video for more detail. But again, the Schedule C is the form that is used by independent contractors and sole proprietors to report income and expense information from their trade or business. Next is the Schedule D, capital gains and capital losses. This is the form that you would use to report any capital gains or losses from capital assets that you own. Capital assets are such things such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, collectibles, and there are other things considered capital assets as well. But the Schedule D is used when you sell a capital asset. And again, the form is used to report a loss or a gain. You have a loss when you sell an asset for less than what the cost basis was. You have a gain when you sell an asset for more than what the cost basis was. Now, the Schedule D is broken up into three parts. There's part one where you would report short-term investments, part two, long-term investments, and part three of the form is a summary part of the form. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what a short-term investment is and what a long-term investment is. A short-term investment is an investment held for a year or less. Let me say that again. Short-term is an asset, I should say, which has been held for a year or less. A long-term asset is one that you have held longer than a year. Again, a long-term asset is one that you have held longer than a year. It is important when completing this form to list the assets correctly. Why? Because they are taxed differently. Short-term assets and long-term assets or capital gains are taxed differently. So it's important that you list the assets correctly when you're using this form. Now, the next form is the Schedule E. This is the Supplemental Income and Loss form. On this form, you would report rental income, rental property income, rental property expenses, income from partnerships, S corporations, or trusts. The form is broken down into 5 different parts. The first part of the form is the section where you would report rental income and expenses and certain royalties. Part 2 of the form, that is where you would report income or loss from partnerships. Part 3 of the form, that is where you would report income or loss from S corps, estates, or trusts. And part 4 of the form is where you would report income or loss from remix, real estate, mortgage, investment, conduits. And part 5 of the Schedule E is summary part of the form. Now, the next schedule is the Schedule F, which is the farm income and loss. The Schedule F is used by farmers. It's basically the same thing as a Schedule C, but it's just used by farmers to report their income and expenses from operating the farm. Example, their gross receipts would come from selling livestock or selling feed, things of that nature. So again, the Schedule F is very similar to the Schedule C. It's just used by farmers. So those are, in my opinion, the most commonly used schedules with the Form 1040. Again, there's the Schedule A, itemized deductions. Schedule B, interest and dividend income. Schedule C, profit and loss from business. Schedule D, capital gains and losses. Schedule E, supplemental income or loss. And the Schedule F, which is farm income or loss. Well, this concludes my discussion on the various schedules. But before I go, I want to give you some information in regards to my website, which is www.audiotaxhelp.com. That's www.audiotaxhelp.com. If you click on the tax trivia link, you will find information about how our glorious tax system became into play. You will also find information regarding the Federal Reserve System. I think you will find that to be interesting reading. Again, that's www.audiotaxhelp.com. I am also an expert on a reputable online Q&A site. My username is tax.appeal.168. That's tax.appeal.168. If you Google that or AOL that or Bing that, you will see various links to various questions that I have answered for customers throughout the U.S. on various tax matters. On Google, you will also notice that other people have picked up my videos and are using them on their websites. So I thank you for viewing this. I thank you for listening. And I do hope that the videos that I have made are allowing you to take the steps to make your life a little less taxing.